Okay, can very welcome. Let the games begin. Um, my name is Tom Moran. Um, and just by way of background as to why I'm here, I don't mean the existential question. I'm just mean why am I here today? My for most of my career was as a civil servant uh, in the Department of Agriculture, and my last 10 years there, I was Secretary General. And having left the department again about 10.5 years. I joined a number of boards. So I, the chairman of Kerry, I've been chairman of Kerry Group the last 5 years. I was on the board for 10. Um, I work with the board of Dawn Meats, and I'm the chairman of the new joint venture with Alliance in New Zealand. And I still do some government work. I chair the Public Appointment Service, which is the recruitment agency for all of government, uh, the civil service and the public service. So I chair that organization. So that kind of keeps me off the streets and out of pubs. That's really what I do. I want to welcome everybody here today. Um, uh, Students from the third Edward colleges, obviously, to the 10th Great Agri Food Debate. This is a joint initiative that's sponsored by Dawn Meats and McDonald, two great partners. And I mean, everybody here, including myself, we're very grateful to obviously Dawn and McDonald's for partnering in this. Um, the had the privilege this morning of being at the semis. I dipped into the two semis because they were going on simultaneously. So I haven't yet got Patrick Pio skills camp in both. But I saw two. I saw the good half and half. Um, the interesting thing was that the topic of both, the topic of each debate, were two of the big meta challenges that face the agri-food sector and indeed face society. One was obviously nutrition in its broad sense, nutrition, education, and so on. We know where that goes. The second one then was on energy and the spillover between energy creation or manufacture or whatever you do with energy, and it's not going to affect on food and agriculture, both interlinked, nutrition and the energy debate, both interlinked. Um, the standard of that debate was phenomenal. I was really so impressed. I'd hate them being a judge, um, but the standard was brilliant, and the points made were so pertinent. Um, so I'm standing here as not only as a moderator of this, but I also have my eye on potential employment and everything else because I was really, really impressed. Um, Before I get into the nuts and bolts of this particular debate, I just want to say something about the um the actual the value and the art of debating, which now more than ever is it was always important, but it's now more than ever because what it's about debating and the way our guests here and I'll introduce them afterwards, but what it's about is selecting information, selecting fact, using it, and using it to persuade or to defend, or to convince, or the objective at the end is what's important. It's not just about gathering and dishing out information, because as we know, and that's your topic, that's getting easier and easier. The trick is using and applying judgment and applying the critical skills that are so essential today. If you take any area of work nowadays, any area, the skill of using information to convince, to defend, to present, to bring people with you is absolutely central. It really is central. Whether it's at a board meeting or whether it's you're bringing your team as a team leader or you're trying to convince upwards in an organization, the skills that are deep in this process uh, are just so important. If you even take something as basic, and I know students here would have their eye on that. If you even take something as basic as doing an ordinary interview, there is such a thing as an interview for um at the beginning of an interview, everybody knows there's a bunch of questions. They're very often called gimme questions. When the person's kind of beginning to shift and sit down on a seat, and the interviewers are messing with their glass and they're drinking the water. And the first thing they'd say is, tell me a little bit about yourself, with particular reference to the job that you're applying for. That's a classic case of information being sought, but more importantly, information being selected by you, by did it, and presented in a way that convinces. So an interview is a meeting, and it's a meeting with an outcome, and you're presenting, you're taking fact, selecting fact, and presenting it. If you select something that is not really going to move the game on in your favor, it's bad selection, bad use of data, it's a bad use of information. So tell me a bit about yourself should only relate to where you want to push this particular object. And the same applies to all interaction in the work context. And that's one of the reasons, only one of the reasons why I think the debating process, as sponsored by Dawn and McDonald, is so important. Most people think of it in terms of politics and so on. Um, I've had the privilege of working most of my main career was, in government. And we've all seen ministers and public figures out speaking, and some of them relate directly to the people that they want to convince, and others don't. If you go on Morning Ireland, for example, and you're being interviewed, you're not trying to convince the fella that's sitting opposite, cranky head on him at 7 in the morning, and he's grilling you or something. You're not trying to convince that person. You're trying to convince the fella that's stuck in traffic on the Nace Road, or the person that's listening to it in the kitchen as they're trying to get the breakfast done and so on. You're convincing. There are people who I remember working with one particular minister who'd win every argument, would not win the game, win the point on the fact, did not persuade the listener to what they want to do. So the skills that the debating process bring to the whole world of students by way of preparation is just phenomenal. That's why, I mean, it's one of the reasons I was so impressed with what I saw in the semis with all teams. Two teams came out of the semi. And that's what we had here today. The topic of this afternoon is, yeah, and I read it to get it right. It's artificial intelligence will create opportunities for farms to improve productivity sustainably and must be adopted as a matter of national policy. That's that's the topic. The two teams we have here, UCC versus UCD. Proposing the motion will be UCC, and opposing the motion, UCD. Now, I have to say that the stance taken by taken by the teams are the the positions that they have been assigned by lottery. So it doesn't necessarily reflect their views, even though you hopefully will see them being argued and worked out with great passion. That they're doing it because they were allocated it. Um, Finally, is being streamed on live. It's streamed on the Dawn Meats YouTube channel. Um, that's why the cameras are there and so on, and that's why we're all wearing makeup. Um, the judges, Richard Clinton here is the commercial director of Dawn Meats. He's sitting right in front of me, looking very commercial and looking like a Dawn activist. Jim Ronan, a very senior, a very well-known franchisee from McDonald's, the cold face of that great company, customer facing. Phil Neal here, here to me, somebody that I read every sometimes Wednesday night, but most Thursday morning, because Phelan was one of the key writers in the in the Farmer's Journal. What they used to call it, a journalist of note. When Phelan writes things, you read them. You mightn't agree, but you read them anyway. And then we have Emer Brazel. She's a chef and an influencer. I know one of those words means, I doubt about the other. Maybe we'll find out later. And we have Dale Crammond here. Dale actually used to be mine in the Department of Agriculture. But I waited until I finished my career to jump ship and start a new career. He jumped ship before he reached that age, and he now is the head of meat in IBEC, which is the employers' organization, the umbrella body in which all of the meat businesses are aligned. That includes Dawn Meats. So you have a very eminent panel of judges with widely diverse skills and so on. Eileen is our timekeeper and will keep manners on me and everybody else with a smile. The rules of debating are, you know them, the participants and their colleagues will know them, but there are just a few key points. And all these rules have been shared. There's no harm in just reversing them. The team captains will open and they will close the debate and they will introduce their teammates. Empty that. Each student's speech will be a maximum of 5 minutes. There'll be this time will be monitored by our timekeeper, by Eileen, and the bell will ring after, I think it's 4 minutes, isn't that right? And then another bell will ring at 5. Interrupting a student while they are speaking is not allowed. Tempted and all as you might be, or as each of the teams might be, you don't do that. You hold your fire, and if you want to bring up a point of information, you do it after the speech. And there are no points of information. There are no points of information on the captain's closing remarks. Okay. Now, when a person introduces a point of information, they're marked on that, and it may not be accepted by the team, but if it is accepted, the accepting team, the point being made, the rebuttal will also be marked, and the judges are well briefed on how to do that. So, let the debate begin. I think that's the way we start. I think I've covered everything. Eileen, have I? Just think that I'm leaving out because I'm used to getting hints from people. I'm doing right and wrong. So we're going to start with Aoife Lynch, captain from the proposing team, UCC Joe. Aoife, it's all right. You stand here, isn't that right? So it's all yours. Oh, well.
Good morning, chairperson, adjudicators, members of the opposition, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Aoife Lynch, and I am a final year nutritional sciences student at UCC. More importantly, I am the daughter of a proud dairy farmer from County Kilkenny. I stand proudly today alongside Anna, Apurva, Claudine, and Ewan, welcome you all to the final of the 10th edition of Great Agri Food Debate, hosted by Dawn Meats and McDonald. 10 years on from the first edition of this debate, agriculture today stands at a technological crossroads. That has given my team and I a chance to propose the motion that artificial intelligence will create opportunities for farms to improve productivity sustainably and must be adopted as a matter of national policy. Before we begin, it's important to clearly define today's motion. By artificial intelligence, we refer to data-driven technologies such as machine learning systems, predictive analytics, smart sensors, robotics, automated milking systems, and AI-backed decision support platforms that analyze farm data to improve efficiency and outcomes. By improved productivity sustainably, we increasing agricultural output, whether that be milk yields, crop production, or livestock efficiency, while simultaneously reducing environmental impact, improving resource efficiency, and protecting biodiversity alongside supporting long term farm viability. And by must be adopted as a matter of national policy. We do not mean forcing every farmer to install a robot in the morning. It's a formal government adopted framework of principles. We mean that the Irish government should actively support and embed AI adoption to structured policy, whether that be grants, training, advisory supports, digital infrastructure, and alignment with EU frameworks, all to help achieve long term national objectives. This motion is not about replacing occupations in agriculture. It's about equipping them. It's not about reckless automation. It's about strategic modernization. Our case today stands on three pillars, judges. Firstly, productivity through precision. Secondly, economic strength and EU alignment. And finally, protecting farmers and rural communities. Anna will show you how AI tools such as pasture-based, smart collars like Call, automated milking systems like the letting robots are already allowing farmers to produce more with fewer inputs. AI replaces guesswork with data. It reduces waste. It strengthens efficiency. Apurva will then demonstrate how agriculture isn't just cultural. It's a national infrastructure. It's who we are. With over 19 billion euro in agri-food exports annually, Ireland must remain competitive. AI strengthens traceability, quality assurance, and sustainability of performance, aligning us with CAP reform, Food Vision 2030, and EU climate targets. Claudine will refute the idea that AI replaces people. It does not replace agricultural occupations. It replaces inefficiency. It reduces stress, labour burden, and uncertainty, making farming viable and attractive to the next generation, saving rural Ireland. And let me make that real. The average age of a farmer in Ireland is 59, according to the CSO. My own dad at home is 58. He's had his hip replaced, he'll have to have his knee replaced. And guess what? It's not getting any younger. Now imagine a national policy that supports AI tools designed not to replace him, but to support him going forward. That's not laziness. That's longevity. AI gives farmers like my own dad the ability to stay productive for longer, farm smarter, not harder. But this debate isn't about whether AI creates opportunity. It's about whether Ireland is serious enough about scaling that opportunity fairly and strategically. Without national policy support, only large farms can adopt AI, smaller farms fall behind, rural inequality widens. With national policy, grants support adoption, Teagasc expands digital advisory services, broadband enables rural innovation, EU sustainability payments are maximized. So, adjudicators, our standard today is clear. If AI can increase productivity, reduce environmental impact, strengthen our economy, and secure the future of rural Ireland, then supporting its adoption is not optional, as the UCD may say. It's responsible, and that's why we strongly propose this motion. Thank you.
The judges have about 2 minutes now to do their deliberate. And, aye. Point of information. Yeah. Sorry. Was there a point of information? I should have asked. I'm used to it. University debate for the shout. And point of information, Eva.
And take that on your stage. Pasture based, Nelly's robots, and smart collars. They're not exactly AI, can't think. They run on flow route and cannot really think or work outside. Absolutely. That's exactly what AI is. AI is based on human driven data. There are questions that AI can work from so it can further improve its amazing importance of technology. Further keeping that already brilliant technologies. Thanks so much.
Okay, I think the judges, as if they finished their deliberation, the opposing Sean Dawn basically they
Good afternoon, and it's great to be here at the Dawn Meats Great Agri Food Debate. Greetings, judges, spectators, teammates of the opposition, and members of the proposition. My name is Dawn McDonald, and my teammates and I are here on behalf of the to strongly oppose the motion that artificial intelligence will create opportunities for farms to increase productivity sustainably and must be adapted as a matter of national policy. Now, that's quite a mouthful, so let's break it down a bit. Guys, loved your definitions. They all to include basically everything in the kitchen sink along with it. Merriam-Webster defines artificial intelligence as, quote, the ability of systems or algorithms to imitate intelligent human behavior, end quote. And realistically, when this motion was being written, this was undoubtedly the likes of your ChatGPTs, your Groks, and your DeepSeeks that the author had in mind. It's what I think when I hear the term artificial intelligence these days. The ability to think is what differentiates these large language models from color, for example. Increased productivity in this context means Irish farms producing more with less time and effort needed. Sustainability is defined by the UN as meeting the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. National policy is a government-mandated framework and support system for using AI in Ireland. However, the true key words in this motion are in fact must be adopted. Demanding that Irish agriculture adopt AI is why this motion cannot carry, as it's uneconomical and a waste of time and energy if we were to. My teammate Ollie May O'Mara will highlight the cybersecurity risks and loss of farmer skills and autonomy. Susanna Kelly will show how a national AI policy would be ineffective and impossible to properly implement. And finally, Amaya Garay will show how AI cannot improve productivity sustainably when it carries such a heavy environmental cost. Speaking of implementation, Irish farms are traditionally much smaller and less liquid than their compatriots on the continent. Your neighbour isn't going to have the capital on hand to invest in an AI-powered picking robot, namely because they have 30 sucklers and 100 ewes, not fruit, and also because it would cost as much as a decent block of land. AI will only drive a wedge between the large conglomerates backed by capital and the family farms Ireland world renowned for. In Ireland, policies for Irish agriculture are broadly implemented in two main ways. One, it's made law, and the department and or board BIA run around enforcing it with inspections and bookkeeping. The other way is for the department to give something to Teagasc, or Teagasc to find it themselves via research, as spread it through their advisory and education systems. Now, that's crossover simplification, and it's the system that works quite well most of the time. Now, Irish farmers can be resistant to change, to say the least. Teagasc has spent the last 13 years running around trying to get dairy farmers to adopt pasture-based, and dairy farmers are perhaps some of the best at adopting new technologies. Go up to Donegal or to Monaghan and try ask a farmer who doesn't even have phone coverage, would they mind adopting AI to optimize their workflow or whatever, and see how far you get. Fundamentally, if AI had any real, tangible, visualizable benefits for Irish agriculture instead of a bunch of hot air, it wouldn't need a national policy to bring about its adoption, and vice versa. If AI needs a piece of national policy to bring about its adoption, is it any good at all? Again, the defining characteristic of AI is the ability to think, or pseudo think. AI won't calve your cows or draw in your silage, and the technology that can help you out there isn't AI. AI is poorly adapted to Irish agriculture, as we still have relatively few large industrial scale crop farms that contain a lot of monotonous repetitive work. For flexibility and adaptability, humans are still the only game in town. AI tools can offer nothing more than another gabbling voice in the herdsman's ear, while most farmers have a trusted network of support, from the vet to the Teagasc advisor to other local farmers who know the farmer's context and, most importantly, know their own. Also, what about AI is inherently sustainable? Socially and economically, it's great at funneling money from laid-off customer service reps to Sam Altman, and for environmentally, well, we're draining the Shannon to cool the data centers that power it, as Amaya will discuss. Then, if you ignore how AI isn't sustainable and isn't particularly useful for Irish agriculture, and that we must put our faith in the Irish government to create an AI policy, the same Irish government that can't solve a housing crisis or build a children's hospital or implement a national broadband plan, do you expect them to do this without wasting taxpayers' money or civil servants' time? Susanna will show you just how nonsensical this motion is. I could bring Plato or Aristotle to the modern day, and tell them, we have built machines to think for us. And they'd probably be like, yeah, we've got one too. It's called the Oracle. They'd probably be more impressed by a Honda 50. Thank you.
As you say, they did.
The FAO proposes that our food demand, our food production increases by 6% by 2050. How do you propose we undertake them without using a technological and innovative technology to do this?
Of course, I'm not arguing that we're not using innovative technology, but AI is really only a subsection of that. The robot is not AI. It doesn't think for itself. It scans, it sees. AI isn't tech, and tech is only a subset of AI. So you're trying to say that everything under the sun is part of AI when it's not. AI is the specific thing that can only think for itself.
Well, it is. Okay, thanks, judges. If your work done, if your work cut out. The second speaker, the UCC second speaker, Anna Lyon, all yours.
Yeah.
Sorry?
Should be multi-man victim.
Yeah, the opposition speaks again.
Good afternoon, judges, adjudicators, chairperson, and team members of the opposition to UCC. My name is Molly Mailmeyer, and I'm here today to strongly oppose the motion. Artificial intelligence will create opportunities for farms to improve productivity sustainably and must be adopted as a matter of national policy. Must be adopted as a matter of national policy. Not encouraged, not supported, not offered as a resource to those who want it. That single word is the most dangerous word in this motion, and I'm here to tell you why. My colleague Dawn has discussed how AI will only drive a wedge between small independent farmers. My role here today is to take you deeper into the specific and concrete and very real risks of mandating artificial intelligence across our farms. I will speak to you about security, hyperdependence, and farmer autonomy. In May 2021, the HSE suffered one of the most devastating cyber attacks that ever happened to a public institution in this country. The Conti ransomware gang brought our national health infrastructure to its knees. Appointments cancelled, cancer treatments delayed, patient records locked. It took months to recover, and the damage ran to an estimated €100 million. Now ask yourself, what happens when this attack is on our farms? The proposition wants to build a centralised AI infrastructure across Irish agriculture, network sensor, algorithmic systems managing irrigation, disease detection, and monitoring livestock, all connected, all dependent on the same underlying architecture. This is not modernisation. This is the creation of a single point of failure in our food supply. A cyber attack on a nationally mandated AI system in the wrong week, in the wrong season, could destroy a harvest, trigger false chemical applications across thousands of acres, or lock farmers out of their own equipment. And unlike a hospital, there was no manual override for a field that has already been sprayed. This is not a hypothetical. The ransomware group Revil attacked UBS, the world's largest meat processor. 13 beef plants went dark overnight. 20% of US meat processing capacity gone in a single day. And crucially, the attack never touched a single farm. It didn't need to. One node in the network was enough to destabilise our entire food chain. And the proposition was to sow that vulnerability into every farm in Ireland. By law, sustainable production requires reliability, a system dependent on remote servers and proprietary software, and multinational data centers is not resilient. It is exposed. Now, let me tell you about skill erosion. Research into cognitive automation shows when professionals rely heavily on automated systems, a vicious cycle begins. They rely more on automation, they engage less with their skills, and their skills erode over time. And then they become more dependent. This is gradual and invisible, and only discovered when the system fails. It happens in aviation, where over-reliance on autopilot leaves pilots unable to manually fly a plane in a crisis. It happens in surgery, where robotic dependence degrades the tactile judgment needed when technology fails in surgery. And it will happen in farming. When an algorithm tells a farmer when to irrigate, when to treat for blight, and when to sell, the farmer stops learning to read those signs themselves. And one day, the system goes down because the vendor goes bust or the trick cuts off hardware access. The farmer stands in their field with degraded instincts and no fallback. Mandating AI to future-proof farming, it holds farming hostage to the future of tech companies. Let me return to that word must. Buried inside it is an assumption that farmers are passive recipients of policy and they will comply and modernize on command. History tells a very different story. Look at Ireland's UNASAP programme. It works, it has genuine farmer uptake, and it's simple. Farmers were engaged as partners, not as subjects. Contrast that with the early license regulations, imposed, poorly communicated, and disconnected from reality on the ground. The resistance was fierce and the resentment lasting. ASAP exists because imposition failed. The Irish government learned that lesson slowly and painfully. And now the proposition asks us to forget everything that experience taught us. AI in Ireland, and somehow express different results. As Dr. Thomas Russell at PCT explained to me, farmers are not empty mugs waiting to be filled with information. They are full cups of tea waiting to be stirred. And here's the deepest irony. Even if you believe AI will transform agriculture, mandating it is the surest way to make it. Sustainable farming is about farmer data, farmer cooperation, and trust. You will not get any of those things who resents the system imposed on them. Genuine sustainability cannot be downloaded. It grows like everything worth growing from the ground upward. Irish farmers are not obstacles to progress. They are not instruments of it either. They are custodians of this land, the people who feed this nation, and the only people capable of making farming truly sustainable. Any policy that does not begin and end with their judgment, their knowledge, and their consent will not produce sustainability. It will fail them, and it will fail us. Thank you.
Whenever you give answer accusing to prove up what
Say that again, sorry.
hey, what evidence do you have that and improve it safety by choosing error in a way I can increase yields or reduce it?
I don't think it's a matter of refusing AI altogether. I think it's much I must. It's kind of mandated and is coming in as a national policy. That's a binding and it's enforced with law and with repercussions like seatbelts and food safety. You're kind of just suggesting some sort of voluntary scheme. And yeah.
Okay. I think our next speaker, UCD, Anna Ryan.
Good afternoon, judges, moderator, members of the opposition, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Anna Ryan and I strongly oppose this motion. Agriculture today faces multiple problems. On one side, we are facing increasing pressure, rising global food demand, climate change, stricter environmental targets, and labour shortage. On the other, we have extraordinary opportunity in artificial intelligence. We stand firmly in support of this motion because we believe AI is empowering farmers to produce more, waste less, and farm smarter. In Ireland, agriculture is already becoming data-driven. Agriculture, which has existed for over 4 decades, ensures efficient use of agricultural resources for increased productivity and sustainability with the use of technology. The quality and the quantity of crops rely on climate, topography, and soil characteristics. Major features such as the available nutrients, soil type, soil health, insect resistance, and quality and quantity of irrigation determine its adaptability and the quality of certain crops. In most cases, crop characteristics and yields may vary within the same farm plot. Therefore, site-specific analysis or the precision farming technique is required to obtain optimal yields to feed our growing population. To remind you of the motion, it says that AI can provide an opportunity. It does not suggest that farmers rely on AI or that suddenly their skills disappear from their head. Implementation of AI. I'd also like to emphasize that policy does not equal legislation. Policy is a strategic framework. No two policies are the same, and they are flexible. Technologies like moon call calving sensors and smart collars monitor animal health and predict calving or illness before visible symptoms appear. If technology uses AI, then I would group it under AI. This early detection reduces animal mortality and veterinary costs, and when animals are healthier, farms are more productive and environmentally efficient. Automatic milking systems are being used increasingly on Irish dairy farms, allowing cows to be milked through AI-controlled systems, which monitor milk yield in real time, detect mastitis early, and optimize feeding per cow, improving outputs, animal welfare, and labour efficiency. This means cows receive exactly what they eat: no excess nitrogen, no overfeeding, and no unnecessary emissions. In the Delavelle new machine, which is developed to be the world's most flexible milking robot, that it works for the farmer and not the other way around. This maximizes the economic benefit of every visit the cow makes to it, and it allows each one to be milked to their needs and capacity, meaning each one really reaches their full potential. Machine learning algorithms are already being used in farms across America to examine sustainability, forecast weather, and assess farms for the presence of disease and pests. In the Netherlands, the Farm for the Future program is a €52.7 million program aimed at digitalizing agriculture, and this includes AI adoption. Moreover, in India, an AI for agriculture program doubles the national average income of farmers in India in 6 months. Food Vision 2030 aims to provide a resilient agri-food sector. And how can we claim to be resilient or to maintain competitiveness if we don't stick with the times? Because artificial intelligence is aware of previous weather conditions and patterns, soil and its content quality, it may skip irrigation, one of the labor-intensive farming operations. The goal of automated systems is to boost average yields by utilizing real-time machines that can continuously maintain the correct soil conditions, considerably lessen the farmer's laborious tasks, and also has the ability to lower the production costs. The awareness of AI will have a significant influence on reducing water loss, given that agriculture currently uses 70% of our global fresh water. AI ensures that every input, feed, water, fertilizer, are used efficiently, which crucially reduces resource waste. For another example, AI-powered drones and image recognition systems are detecting at an earlier stage. And instead of blanket spraying an entire field, farmers can apply pesticides only where needed, reducing chemical runoff into waterways, soil degradation, and biodiversity loss. In a country like Ireland, we are committed to emission reductions and water protection under EU climate obligations. For example, in the EU Green Deal, we are committed to a 20% reduction in fertilizer use by 2030, and AI again provides the opportunity to get us there. AI must be adopted as national policy, because without this, only large, wealthy farms will afford the tools and rural inequalities will prevail. National policy ensures sufficient grants and subsidies for precision farming tools and training programs through Teagasc Advisory Services. Ireland's agri-food sector is worth billions annually. Protecting it and modernising it is not optional, but it is strategic. Artificial intelligence can mean smarter grazing, healthier herds, cleaner water, and greater yields, not a threat to traditions, but the next evolution. AI in agriculture must be adopted for productivity, for sustainability, for the future of farming.
Speech talking about various things, precision ag, new developable robots, and blue collar. It's just technology that runs on computer systems. Not all computer systems are AI.
These computer systems, AI. So when you say artificial intelligence provides the opportunity, if they're using AI, then I would say they are AI. If we rely on that to function, unless they use it for smart thinking, make quicker decisions, then I would group them under AI. And if that's what we're saying, things already exist. So we don't aim to put all technology into the realm of AI, but it's using AI in this production. that it is.
Okay, thanks. Thanks very much, judges. Next speaker, please, Anna, or yours.
Good afternoon, judges, chairperson, ladies and gentlemen, and members of the opposition. My name is Susanna Kelly, and I stand here today on behalf of my team and UCD to adamantly oppose this motion. I just want to give a quick shout out to all the people at UCD watching on the webcam. The proposition wants national policy on AI in Irish agriculture. It sounds progressive. It sounds forward thinking. But ambition without feasibility is not policy, it's fantasy. And today I will demonstrate exactly why this motion fails. The simple question of why, if AI is as transformative as the proposition claims, we need legislative force to make anyone adopt it. The infrastructure that does not yet exist to support it. The impossibility of legislating it. And finally, who actually owns the data that this policy would generate? And what happens to Irish farmers when they realise the answer is not them? Let us begin with the law itself. The European Union Artificial Intelligence Act, the most comprehensive attempt to regulate artificial intelligence anywhere in the world, took 4 years to draft, negotiate, and pass. 4 years of the European Commission's full institutional machinery, hundreds of legal experts, thousands of hours of committee work across multiple jurisdictions. And when it finally emerged, it still left vast grey areas around agricultural applications specifically. If Brussels, with all of the machinery behind it, cannot draw a clean legal line around artificial intelligence and agriculture, what exactly does the proposition expect Leinster House to produce? A working group? A consultation period that runs for 2 years? A report that lands in the shelf of the Department of Agriculture while the technology it was written to regulate has already evolved past recognition? Because that is the fundamental problem with legislating artificial intelligence. AI is not a physical input you can measure at farm gates. It is not like nitrates, slurry storage, or herd numbers. AI is commercially owned, and the technology that exists when the bill is enacted, when the bill is drafted, may bear little resemblance to what exists when the bill is enacted. You cannot future-proof policy for a technology the industry itself cannot predict. AI-driven agriculture is not a no-connectivity enterprise. They are data-hungry, bandwidth-intensive technologies. They require fast, reliable, consistent internet connectivity. And in the significant parts of rural Ireland, the parts where farming actually happens, that connectivity is still not guaranteed. You cannot mandate precision agriculture on farms that cannot get reliable signal. You cannot require AI compliance from people who are still waiting for broadband that was promised to them 14 years ago. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if AI delivers the yields, the savings, and the sustainability improvements that the proposition claims, then why does there need to be policy at all? Irish farmers are not reckless technophobes, resisting progress out of stubbornness or sentiment. They are pragmatic business people operating in one of the most competitive, volatile, weather-dependent, and margin-squeezed sectors in the entire economy. They adopt technologies that deliver clear returns. No national policy was required to mandate the adoption of the modern milking parlour. If AI delivers obvious, reliable, cost-effective gains, it will be adopted voluntarily. Irish farms are not waiting for Leinster House to tell them what is good for their own business. But if AI requires a legislative compulsion for uptake, then that is a sign that farmers are not being slow or resistant. That is a market signal. The benefits are marginal or uneven, and the risks outweigh the returns for many farmers. When an Irish farmer uses AI systems, that system does more than provide recommendations. It captures data, highly detailed, commercially sensitive data, the operational blueprint for a farm business built over generations. And that blueprint is not stored in the ledger in the farmhouse. It is transmitted in real time on a platform the farmer does not own, and in many cases controlled by a multinational technological company headquartered outside of Ireland, operating under contractual terms. The average farmer has little power to negotiate. And under many of those agreements, the platform retains significant rights over that data. The farmer, meanwhile, becomes increasingly dependent on a system built on their own information. That is not a small technical issue. It is a structural shift and moves control over agricultural intelligence away from farmers and towards private corporations whose primary objective is to the shareholder, not to the long-term resilience of Irish agriculture. We do not oppose innovation. We oppose a policy that accelerates dependency without securing ownership, clarity, and protection. That is not progress. For those reasons, we oppose this motion.
Lana, you say if you use AI, who owns this data? But if it becomes policy, the aren't ensure it's all working. But they already have number using AI.
Can you repeat that?
I was last thing that he's mentioned how if we were to use AI that owns the actual data, but it becomes policy that actually end up using your social security and actually.
Well, I think considering all of the data breaches that have occurred in Meta, I wouldn't confident the Irish government to back farmers on this matter.
Judges? Okay. Thank you very much, judges. Next speaker from UCC is Purva Munde. You're more than welcome. Yes.
Good morning, judges, members of the opposition, and members of the audience. My name is Apurva Unde, and I will be proposing this nonsense promotion that clearly Dawn Meats and McDonald's and the whole world is interested in. AI. Firstly, I would like to say, I even doubt the UCD actually agrees with their arguments when their own university is teaching courses relating to precision agriculture, engineering, and technology, and are also looking for an academic director of the UCD AI Institute. Let me address the facts that Fionn, Molly, and Susanna have clearly neglected. First of all, as we all know, agriculture is a sector in Ireland, the sector that Ireland takes pride in, and it is crucial for our trade balance and economy. According to the Department of Agriculture, Food and Marine, Ireland is a major exporter of dairy, beef, and food products with over 19 billion exports in agri-food exports annually. Fionn, you falsely stated that the AI is uneconomical, but I believe that if we want to improve our economy and the livelihood of our nation, artificial intelligence is the way to do so. AI will ensure consistent quality, traceability, and safety, which will make Irish products more appealing to global buyers. If we have a stronger export market, then we will form a higher revenue by providing foreign income for the economy. Ireland is also working towards becoming a leader in sustainability by their strategic plan, Food Vision 2030. I want to ask you, how can you even oppose AI in agriculture when Michael Murphy has delivered a speech to your college discussing Vision 2030, how mission for technology become competitive for the agri-food sector? Currently, There is a common agricultural policy, also known as the which is the EU system of agricultural subsidies and programs that support farmers, rural development, and food security. Are billion euro in top funding for each 7-year new budget period. The EU is moving toward a more sustainable CAP from phase 8 to 2034, with a strong emphasis on climate-friendly, resource-efficient farming. It also funds farmers and supports AI-based crop monitoring and sustainability tech. Payments will be restored to farmers who reduce emissions, protect biodiversity, and use water and fertilizer efficiently. Susanna, if we make AI a part of a national policy, then we can help farmers secure a stable income and they can fully benefit from these CAP payments. Ireland really needs to be up to date with the world's agricultural terms and competitive market. Countries such as the Netherlands and Denmark are using AI in agriculture to tourism sustainability. If they are doing this, why can't we? Also, Fionn, I don't understand why you included Tazit in your anti-AI speech, when Tagus research firms are using milking robots and AI sensors to monitor cow's milk yield, temperature, and activity. These technologies detect mastitis early by spotting changes in milk conductivity and cow behavior. This early detection prevents infection spreading and reduces antibiotic. Also, currently farmers are also already using drones to herd monitor sheep. A sheep farmer called Brennan in County Carlow uses a drone to herd around 150 sheep from field to field. He has also said how foxes may usually take lambs. It's important to check on their frequency. Using AI for these farmers helps them immensely as it reduces the labor and daily intensive tasks. If we really want to look after the well-being of our livestock, AI can help animal welfare. This practical evidence shows that AI isn't only theoretical, but it works and on real farms. As you can see, there are so many targets that Ireland is working towards, such as boosting the economy, work sustainable, and supporting animal welfare. By using AI in farming will be a huge assistance instead of and for 6.5 billion project agricultural projects with sustainable farming. UCC are agreed. Thank you for this.
Bus.
Yeah, and we're really correct. So firstly, these are our personal opinions. So to bring you to what we do at our test, our stomachs, medicine, as Tom's already said, these are the personal. On that have one that you use on developing AI strategies, but AI so posing notion is a taking part developing for your AI is
Okay. Georges, thank you very, very much. Number 4 then for UCD, left Maya Carey.
Chairperson, adjudicators, members of the proposition. My name is Maya Karai, and I'm here to weigh the debate and tell you why the proposition has failed to prove that artificial intelligence will improve farm productivity sustainably, and why it certainly should not be adopted a matter of national policy. Let me address a few things my opponents have glossed over. Sustainability, while of course encompasses farm viability and rural development, the way Ethan described it, also must ensure environmental sustainability. The proposition have failed to look at all consequences of this national adoption. AI at a national scale is negative for habitats and Ireland's grass-based systems, all things I learned at UCD. As your second speaker mentioned, as a country, we must meet strict environmental and emissions targets and maintain resilience both in the climate and competitively. But I would question, how are we meant to do that if we are relying on environmentally destructive AI technology that is overusing renewable energy and electricity? We do, however, accept one thing. AI can increase, but productivity alone is not sustainable. Sustainability means improving productivity without shifting harm elsewhere. And that is exactly what AI and farming risks doing. My core argument is simple. You cannot claim sustainable productivity with the technology driving it itself environmentally unsustainable. AI systems do not exist in thin air. The systems, which rely on data centers, satellites, servers, and constant computation, do not run on good intentions. They run on electricity and lots of it. According to the CSO in 2024, Irish data centers consume 22% of all renewable electricity in the country. That is all households combined. But where is all this electricity coming from? Professor Henry from UCC found all additional units of wind energy generation are automatically consumed by these data centers. Every single unit. Renewables are not being used to reduce our fossil fuel. They are running the appetite of big AI. The UCC professor concluded with stark reality that the trajectory of data center is incompatible with Ireland's climate commitments. In other words, while farms may use less fertilizer or water, the emissions are simply shifted upstream to energy-intensive data centers. This is not environmental progress. It is environmental displacement. Or still, AI infrastructure consumes water, potable, usable water. Data centers require water for cooling, and power plants require water for electricity generation. And they spit it back out as undrinkable and contaminated. In water-stressed regions and times of year, this creates direct competition between AI systems and agricultural excel. So when the proposition says AI saves water, you must ask, save water where and at what cost elsewhere? Even on the farm, AI does not automatically meet environmental sustainability. I would now like to introduce you to the paperclip maximizer theory. If you tell an AI model to optimize the production of paperclips, it will stop at nothing to turn the whole world into manufacturing facilities. This thought experiment has been used for decades in important AI discussions, and that includes today. The industrialization of agriculture through robotics and AI raises concerns about land degradation and biodiversity loss due to increased monoculture. In other words, a uniform cropping demand will always prioritize efficiency and yield over ecological balance. Farm AI runs the real risk of prioritizing water loss, of depleting soil nutrients, increasing soil erosion, and disrupting natural habitats. Do we really want to see the modern day Dust Bowl take place in our own green fields? So the proposition story that AI equals green farming only works under conditions. Real world agriculture is messy. It means constantly changing the climate and the land. And algorithm mistakes still harm faster than humans. If you don't want to take our word for it, take yours. AI as high risk in sensitive sectors, oversight before deployment. If Europe is so cautious about AI in these other, why should we be so good at agriculture? This is not a fringe concern, it is policy. It proves that AI is not to be treated as an automatic tablet. And yet the proposition asks us to mandate AI adoption nationally and farming without proving that environmental safeguards are sufficient. The proposition has given us potential, and as the opposition, the motion does not discuss potential. It does not say it might help. It says AI will improve productivity sustainability and must be adopted as national policy. This is a burden of uncertainty, and they have not read it. It is more than just about output today. It is whether future generations will still have soil, water systems, and resilient ecosystems. Right now, AI is not environmentally neutral. Reasons are opposed. Thank you.
Or at the Ministry of already her has blood, so how do you weigh one versus the other? You'll find so reply economy model whereby all culture.
Thanks for your POI. I think that you have the greenhouse gases, but if you're trying to offset those processes with renewable energy and then automatically using that renewable energy for centers. It's not for the farms themselves or for citizens of the country. I think that it's just doesn't make any sense in the long term.
Okay, thank you very much, judges.
Yeah.
We move on to our opposition speaker number 4, Claudine Lynch.
Good afternoon. My name is Claudine Lynn, and I'm delighted to be here today to strongly propose this motion. I'm going to dive headfirst and rebuke what you've heard the other day. Amaya, sustainability is about net impact. It reduces fertilizer waste, pesticide application, and emissions from inefficiency. The environmental savings massively outweigh energy costs of data processing. I argue that AI can actually support biodiversity by enabling precision farming, applying inputs only where needed, and protecting margins, reducing chemical overuse. Susanna, I find it very typical that a student from UCD proposes that rural farming does not have network connectivity. Wait till you hear that they actually have running water and electricity. We're not living in the old days, so it's time to be more realistic. The opposition see AI as a threat. We see it as a tool. Let's be honest, no AI is going to chase a sheep that has decided freedom is more important than a fence, or negotiate with a stubborn cow that refuses to move. As Fionn said as well, AI will not calve your cows. AI does not replace people, it replaces inefficiency. Farming has always evolved with technology. Tractors replaced horses, irrigation replaced manual watering, and machinery reduced back-breaking labor. Your farming implement did not disappear, and neither did their intelligence holiday. It changed and improved, and today we are standing at the beginning of another agricultural revolution. Just past generations adapted to mechanization and modern machinery, we have entered the era of AI. Evidence already points us to the usefulness of AI. An AI-enabled smart irrigation system reduced water use by 47%, while increasing crop yields by 43%. Convolutional neural networks, a type of AI that specializes in processing and analyzing image data, have proven to be particularly effective in crop disease recognition. These are just to mention a few. The potential is vast. The benefit of AI technologies to farmers is undeniable. Not only does AI improve a farmer's life, it also improves their livestock's welfare. For generations, farmers have cared for their animals through experience, instinct, and constant hard work. Yet even the most dedicated farmer cannot watch an animal every day, every minute. Illness, injury, or stress can go unnoticed until it becomes serious. Who knows how long that animal has suffered? A recent study presented an integrated computer vision and deep learning framework for dairy cattle to detect lameness. The results were outstanding, with a 99% accuracy distinguishing a healthy versus a lame cow, and a similar accuracy for detecting severity. We're all aware of the burdens that farmers face: long working hours, social isolation, and constant financial pressure. Many are tied to their farms 7 days a week, leaving little time for family, rest, or community life. This is where AI technologies offer something truly transformative: freedom. AI systems can automate repetitive and time-consuming tasks. And when farmers have more time and better quality of life, farming becomes more attractive to younger generations. Nearly 50% of farmers do not have a succession plan in place in Ireland, and business transfer to the next generation is unsure. As we've seen with the recent CSO stats, only 4.3% of farmers are under 35. There is a clear need for further digitalisation and use of AI in farming. That is how we keep rural communities alive, agriculture sustainable, not just economically and environmentally, but socially. Adopting new technologies requires investment, but farming is always operated on thin margins, which is exactly why efficiency matters. The question is not, can farmers afford AI? The real question is, can they afford not to adopt it? Because the true cost is falling behind. When climate change intensifies, the demand for food increases, and global competition becomes tougher every year. If we want sustainable agriculture, thriving communities, and a farming sector that the next generation actually wants to join,
Just wanted to point out Yoshia Bengio, who is referred to as the godfather of AI, has warned of AI getting out of hand and that it is can be dangerous. But can you explain how to regulate a technology that even its developers evolves faster than the law can?
that's exactly where the national policy put in rules and regulation on its that's therefore and that our farmers can do.
Okay, judges, thank you very much. We're heading to the final lap. The two closing speeches now. One first one from the opposition from Dawn McDonald. I'm sorry.
Before I start, I'd like to say, you talk about us as being snobbish dubs, but at my home in Roscommon, I cannot phone home from the yard because there's no phone. We're in a black spot. It's not the past, it's now. But you know what surprised me most about this debate so far? Is that no one's made an artificial insemination joke yet. We must all be tillage farmers or something. Anyway, the motion cannot pass as the proposition unequivocally failed to effectively demonstrate how AI can be useful, how it can be sustainable, and how it can be properly implemented. We've shown you the risk of cybersecurity, GDPR, and what happens when farmers' data is anyone but their own. This motion seeks to enshrine fragility into our food system. Molly May has also shown about the dangers of skill erosion, where farmers will become worse at making the decisions that they get AI to make for them. Again, the defining ability of AI is the ability to think. Otherwise, it's just tech. My grandfather mowed with a scythe, my father mowed with a finger bar, and myself a big N. But now I can't cut hay with a scythe. With AI, it's everything. Trades of skills and instincts dulled by data centers. Susanna has highlighted that the EU AI policy took 4 years to get off the ground, and even then, it was ineffective, full of holes, and outdated. The road to hell is paved with good intentions, and how can we expect the Irish government to do any better with its track record? They could rush something through, and it would be, by its very nature, rushed and ineffective. They could take their time and come up with a piece of comprehensive policy, only to find the ground has moved beneath them. Again, you cannot legislate a moving target. We could sit here and argue the semantics of what AI can or can't do until milk prices go back up again. But regardless, it cannot do it sustainably, as Amaya has shown. In the last 3 years, farmers in the southeast have had to buffer feed in the summer every year as drought sets in, all while the data centers absorb more and more water from the ground. The renewable energy we so vehemently defended this morning has all been nullified by the addition of all these data centers to power these AI algorithms. This doesn't scream sustainable to me. We brought up the paperclip maximizer theory, which many fob off as scaremongering, but is already happening, just not with paperclips, with profits for Silicon Valley instead. How naive must you be to assume that Elon Musk and all the other tech heads don't have their own bottom lines in mind when creating their algorithms? You talk about everything under the sun, but AI is not any piece of tech. It has to think. A simple sensor does not count. The proposition of spent whole speeches talking about collars and robots. These things are not AI. They're just tech. And we're not against technological advancement. But you've yet to tell us what AI can actually do. Almost the point. We've spent this whole debate dancing around what actually is and isn't AI. If us here can't agree on what it is, how do we expect the Enstrom House or the Department to get on? You talk of milk sensors for milk conductivity. You clearly have not spent time getting soaked on their rotary in New Zealand, putting them together to know that they measure how milk transmits current. It's not AI. So when you weigh this motion, the picture is clear. We have shown that AI is neither economically realistic nor suited to the structure of Irish family farming. Molly May has shown that AI adoption creates systemic vulnerability, exposing our food production to cyber risk and the erosion of farmer autonomy. Susanna has proven that a national AI policy is legally vague, infrastructurally premature, and risks handing control of Irish farm data to multinational corporations. Lastly, Amaya has told us about the environmental footprint of AI in energy, water, and ecological impact. This directly contradicts the sustainability emotion claims. So I will end you with this, an excerpt from the 1979 IBM training manual. A computer must never make a management decision, as a computer cannot be held accountable. Anyways, what are we going to do? Make ChatGPT plus tabs applicable?
Okay, thank you, judges. Aoife, you're on to.
Chairperson, adjudicators, timekeeper, proposing team, members of the audience. Let us return to what this debate today is truly about. It's not about robots replacing jobs in the agricultural sector. It's not about abandoning tradition. It's about empowering farmers and protecting farming as a whole. We all know, Fiona, it's hard to get farmers to change. Farming's in their bones. But the sad truth is that they're getting older. What happens when they reach 70, 80 years of age and can't walk the length and the breadth of their fields to go measure grass? Yes, the government have serious issues money-wise, but if UCD and FPD can invest 14 million euro on new research centres in Lyons Farm, then the money will come from somewhere, whether that be through industry, to support Irish farmers. Molly May used the word must when it came to policy. We did not imply that. Policy isn't about demand. It's a guideline and framework to support farmers. It's not forceful, vigorous implementation. It would be great, to be honest, if it was a national policy, because that means we would be assisting farmers in this matter. You stressed about the HSE cyber attack. However, as Fionn mentioned, that's all technology, and this can happen to anyone. And I guarantee you, AI was possibly not used in that situation. Secondly, we're not forcing people to go straight to AI and learning. We're talking into the future. And we would hope that as time goes on, technology would improve so much that this possibly risk of cyber attack may not even happen. Susanna, who does data belong to? If you listen to my POI response, you would have heard that AI is built on a database and real people, precisely backing up Claudine's point that AI will not take jobs from this sector. Connectivity is not guaranteed, Fionn. Well, I guarantee you, I live in rural Ireland too, and we didn't have broadband until last year. And if this policy was implemented correctly, it would ensure that we would all have connectivity. It wasn't mandated to put in a milking machine. No, it wasn't. But let me tell you, tell me why, as the CAP report looks to reward people for using technology. And tell me why UCD are looking for a professor in AI, as the Corbett mentioned. Because we need to move forward. We want to move forward. Anna showed you that AI increases productivity through precision, through tools like smart collars and automated milking systems. AI replaces guesswork with data. It detects illness early, it optimizes feed and fertilizer. It reduces waste and emissions per litre of milk or kilo of beef, as Fionn was fairly obsessed with. That is sustainable productivity. Further demonstrated that agriculture isn't simply culture, it's in our bones. With over €19 billion in agri-food exports, Ireland can't afford inefficiency. AI strengthens traceability, it improves quality assurance, aligns us with CAP reform and Food Vision 2030, and positions Ireland competitively in climate-conscious global market. Claudine dismantled the opposition's fear-based claims. AI doesn't replace agricultural occupations, it replaces inefficiency. It reduces stress and it reduces isolation of rural Ireland. She exposed the flaw in the cost argument because this motion is about national policy, grants, advisory supports, broadband expansion, and the CAP alignment, ensuring that no farmer is left behind in this country. She also addressed generational renewal, with the Irish farmers under the age of 35 being at only 4.3%. We must make farming viable and attractive for young people. AI reduces labour intensive, increases certainty, and lowers financial risk for these new entrants like ourselves. But adjudicators, I'd like to finish on something personal today. I've grown up on a working dairy farm. I've watched my dad trying to decide whether a cow was just slow to calve or in real trouble. I've seen him make those decisions based on instinct, experience, and years of knowledge passed down from generations and generations. All what Irish farming is about. Instinct carries pressures. What if you're wrong? What if you missed something? What if you could have known sooner? Now imagine that same yard, but with a smart sensor that lets you know, with real-time data from real people supporting your decision. That doesn't replace the farmer, it strengthens them. We can't ask the farmer to reduce emissions, protect biodiversity, meet EU targets, and remain globally competitive while denying them the most powerful tools available. Artificial intelligence isn't the abandonment of tradition. After all, farming is the backbone of who we are. It's the evolution of it, for productivity, for sustainability, for rural communities, and for the next generation, like all of us standing here today. Adjudicators, the question is not whether AI creates opportunity, because it does. Thank you.
Thank you, Aoife, and thank you to both teams. There are times when you really like the role you play in something, and I would hate to be a judge. I would really hate to be a judge as they're finalizing their thoughts right in front of me. Frown faces on them, worried heads. When they finish that little bit of their job, we'll go to dismiss for about 15 minutes to do your work. And then our bunch of brilliant students can relax a little bit when they can be asked what they really think. But in the meantime, judges, I'm going to ask you to leave, go to your cave, wherever it is, and come back in 15 minutes with your deliberations. Is that okay? Brilliant. Um, that's a huge issue. And there's so much more that's stem out of this that'll be symbiotically related to it over time. There's no doubt. But on that note, I want to ask Richard Clinton and Jim Ronan. See Richard first. Come and say a few words before we damage. So you were out there deliberating for long enough.
I apologize.
You're very welcome.
I did give you an opportunity to get best out of the office. Right. Good afternoon again. We did have quite a bruising discussion inside in the judges' room. We eventually came to a conclusion on will reveal in due course. Firstly, I just wanted to say to my fellow judges, a big thank you for your participation. It was a big time commitment for many of you to participate here today.
and your engagement is very much appreciated. And it's through the ongoing support of McDonald's and other industry partners that we work with on an ongoing basis that this event has been such a success over the years, and we'd love to keep your needless to say. I made remarks earlier about the world's best steak, or the home of the world's best steak. Unfortunately, no marks to anybody for not repeating any throughout the course of the day when I was present. But as I said earlier, we're only a stone's throw across the road. The HR department would love to accept your CVs at the earliest opportunity, because it would be very privileged to have any of the team members here today present in any of our teams. You've shown tremendous capability and an ability to persuade over the course of the day in the different debates that you participated in. So my job on an ongoing basis is to convince people to say yes. And I've been reasonably successful in doing that over the years, and it feeds into what Tom was talking about earlier, the ability to convince, to persuade, and make an argument that resonates with your target audience. I want to compliment the teams for the quality of the debate and the discussion that took place here today. I think it is true to say that in all my years dealing with this event, we have never had a closer outcome. Such was the quality of the debate, discussion that took place. I think both teams can be very proud of how they responded to the challenge. In particular, I want to give thanks to the input of the researchers, which very often goes unnoticed by the wider audiences who are present. They obviously contribute in a very significant way to the ability of the speakers themselves in terms of the arguments that are put forward and in terms of the quality of the presentation. So again, I just want to recognize that point as well. Even though we haven't yet reached the point where we know who the best speaker is and who the winners are, call Renee for our co-sponsors, McDonald's, just a few words. So thank you all.
Thank you, Richard. I was born on a dairy farm, not Cork, so I grew up in a short pants running after cows and sheep. So I had a link with farming and agriculture all my life. I became a McDonald's franchisee 28 years ago. Would have had a huge interest in the supplier side of it all those years. So much so I chair the supply chain group for the Republic of Ireland now. We have some amazing suppliers that make and help McDonald's be hugely successful. We have Richard at Dawn Meats, Curry Foods are here, which is a huge supplier of ours. Lee Strand in Tralee supplier of milk for us. Valley, a huge supplier for us. A lot of them supply the Republic of Ireland and the European market as well. So it's a huge outlet. As we said today, billions of euro are expected exported from the agri sector of the year, and we play our part in that. We have 96 in the market at the moment. We opened our latest new Ross last week, which started off hugely successfully. There are 19 franchisees in the country. My colleague Joe Byrne is just down the road, and he was here this morning. He judged one of the semi-finals. So we're very involved in the community as well. McDonald's will be 50 years next year. We started in Grafton Street in 1977. There's great celebrations. Most of my path, I just want to do 14. I think, I watched the semi scoring and the final this evening, and I think what I'd use is respect between both teams is fantastic. I think the debate was great, and I think the discussions that were had, I think will continue down in the future because it's an evolving situation, and I think AI is here to stay, and how we use it and utilize it is going to be bigger. So I just want to congratulate teams. I think it was a great competition and the very best. So thanks for
This is the one I'm waiting for. Name. Thank you very much. Somebody said this morning at the semi, this is my Oscar moment. In the semi, but anyway. So for the grand final, best speaker awards. Certificate. Second role, Angelo Valletto is the grand final of the inter-university debate winner, UCC. Can I just add my congratulations and it was a fantastic performance today, and indeed we get to today's debate. It's outstanding. I really jokingly, but the hard job. It's really difficult. Not only on the best speaker, but the better of the teams who could want to judge. Well served. It's a fantastic win, and one thing you need to take away apart from your prizes and certs is the job offer from Richard Clinton. So I wouldn't even leave as part of the company. So I'd be down TV. And even because you've been in the final, a recording of your debate is proof of what you can do. So well done and congratulations and nice step. Bye.